Here are the types of multiplexes you can build in Vancouver, Burnaby, Surrey, and Delta. Vancouver is the most straightforward. So in R11, the new fourplex zoning in Vancouver, you can make one FSR, meaning for a 4,000 square foot typical 33 by 122 lot, you can make the same size fourplex. So a 4,000 square foot lot, a 4,000 square foot fourplex. So each unit will be 1,000 square foot plus the around 200 square foot garage, and the access for parking has to be from the back lane. So you do need a back lane if you want to build a fourplex in Vancouver. If you want to build a fiveplex, you need a 44 feet frontage, so slightly bigger than a typical 33, 34 feet frontage in Vancouver. And if you want to build a sixplex, you need a 49.5 or around a 50 foot frontage and of course a bigger lot in Vancouver. If we talk about Delta, Delta is composed of majorly three zones: RS7, RD3, and RS1. RS7 is your typical 3 to 4,000 square feet tiny lot with like a typical 30 to 35 feet frontage. RD3 is usually bigger. RS1 is usually the best one. A typical RS7 zone lot, you can make a duplex. So in Delta, you can just make a duplex. You're not allowed to make a fourplex. You can only make a duplex with the basement suite. Your basement suites will be counted as a dwelling unit, but you cannot stratify basement suites or even the coach home. So you can only stratify one half of a duplex. So you can build two half duplexes. In RS7 zone lot, you can build a typical 1,400 square foot plus one single car garage times two, so 2,800 square foot plus a double garage. Pretty standard, simple structure, not too big. But for your RD3 zone lot, the calculation is 0.25 times the lot size plus 1,000 square feet plus whatever the basement size is, and plus of course the garage. So basement again depends on some setbacks, depends on how big your main level will be. The basement will be the same exact size. You typically, for a 6,600 square feet lot, your basement's usually 1,500, 1,550 square feet. So for a typical 6,600 square feet RD3 zoned lot, you can build around 4,200 square feet duplex plus the double garage, so around 2,100 square feet with the basement suite, 2,100 square feet with the basement suite plus the single car garage. So for each half duplex. And RS1, you can make a little bigger than the 4,200, maybe around 4,500 square feet duplex. Again, depends exactly on the frontage, the size, and some other setbacks. But typically, you can assume that you can make a 4,500 square feet full duplex plus a double car garage for a typical 6,600 square feet RS1 zoned lot. But again, as a reminder, you can only make a duplex and not a fourplex in Delta. If we talk about Surrey, Surrey has three major zones: R3, R4, and R5. You can build a duplex in all three zones, but you can only make a fourplex, or also known as a houseplex, in R3 zoned lot with very specific requirements. So if you want to make a duplex in the tiny R5 zoned lot, you can make a typical 1,650 square feet each side of a half duplex plus the garage times two, so around 3,300 square feet structure for a full duplex in a typical R5 zoned lot in Surrey. Those are usually the ones with the back lane. For a R4 zoned lot, you can make around 2,200 square feet each half duplex plus the garage. So for R4, slightly bigger than R5 zone lot. So from 1,650, you jump to 2,200 square feet. Again, depending on the exact lot size, because R4 could be anywhere from 3,500 square feet to like 4,400 square feet, even like 5,000 square feet. So depending on the exact your frontage, depth, your lot size, the average is around 2,200 or 4,400 for the full duplex in R4 zone lot. R3 is a little tricky. You can make a duplex. Typical duplex will be around 5,600 square feet, so 2,800 square feet plus the single car garage times two, so 5,600 square feet full duplex plus the double car garage. This is if the R3 zone lot does not have a back lane or is not a bigger corner lot. So if you have a corner lot with a bigger, wider frontage, at least like 60 feet frontage, hopefully bigger, you can make a houseplex on that lot. So again, if the lot has a back lane or is a corner lot, you can make a fourplex. If it is not a corner lot or if it doesn't have a back lane, you can only make a duplex. So for a duplex, it's 2,800 square feet plus 2,800 square feet plus the garages for R3 zone lot. But if you're building a fourplex, it's a pretty big structure. You can make a typically 6450 square feet plus the basement plus the car garage. So minus the car garage. Typical unit for a fourplex in Surrey for a standard, let's say 8,000 square foot lot, would be around 21 to 2200 square feet. So you can make closer to 8600, 8800 square feet, again depending on how big your main level is, and so your basement will be dependent on that, but your fourplex will be around a little over 8500 square feet. And of course you can make a garden suite or a coach home if you have a back lane, but those cannot be stratified. So you can only make a maximum duplex if it doesn't have back lane with a coach home, or with the garden suite, which you can make 2 garden suites for each half duplex, but you have to sell those with the main half duplex unit. So you cannot stratify the garden suites. But even for a fourplex, you can only make a houseplex, but you cannot make 2 extra garden suites. You can make a sixplex or a houseplex plus 2 garden suites or 2 coach homes, as long as the lot is within the FTN or the frequent transit network, which there's a map online you can find. It's usually 120th, 128th, King George, 104 Fraser Highway. There's it's like anywhere between 120 to 122, 126 to 130, so and so on. So depending on if your lot lies within the FTN, you can make a fourplex with the coach homes or with the 2 garden suites. But again, you cannot sell 6 units. You can only sell a maximum of 4 units. And finally, let's talk about everyone's favorite, Burnaby. Every developer is a fan of Burnaby just because Burnaby is super pro development. It's so pro development, you're allowed to build, there's no limit on FSR. And you're allowed to make up to 4 stories high, and you can make 4 detached houses on the same exact lot. Of course, there's setbacks. Of course, there's maximum lot coverage that you're allowed, but still the structure will be pretty massive for a typical Burnaby lot. For your standard 66 by 122, 8,052 square feet lot, the setbacks that the city needs for the separation from the lot line and the houses themselves is around 40 feet for the depth and 16 feet from the frontage or the width. So your typical 66 by 122 becomes 82 times 50, which is around 4,100 square feet. That's the floor plate for the 4 units. So you can make 4,100 times 4, so over 16,400 square feet of a big fourplex on an 8,000 square feet lot with a backplane in Burnaby. You don't really need a backline, but of course it always helps for parking requirements. But a 16,000 square feet super huge structure with 4,000 square foot houses, of course minus the single or double car garages, that's pretty huge. For a 60 by 100, it comes to around 10,000 something, like 10,500 something square feet. Even for a smaller lot, you can make a bigger sized fourplex as well. And you're allowed to make sixplex, and you're allowed to stratify sixplexes as well. But of course, those have to be near the FTN or the frequent transit network. That's usually your Canada Way and the other highway, the boundary of this, like the other highways as well. You can make 6 units without any FSR requirements. That's why every developer is rushing to buy a bigger lot. Even like a smaller lot doesn't matter, as long as the frontage is there. A 50-footer lot, that doesn't give you a lot, because you usually need wider frontage for the pathway towards all the 4 separate houses. So a 60-foot frontage is usually good enough to make a huge structure. But of course, lot coverage could diminish the maximum built. But of course, you can always check with the city and to see how big of a structure you can build on your specific lot. Quick disclaimer, you cannot build a duplex or a fourplex or pretty much anything for that matter on every single lot. There's always some requirements from the city, so you have to check with the city before buying any lot or before going ahead with the development permit process. There could be easements, there could be right of ways, there could be Pitt in Vancouver, or there could be some frontage requirements, some specifics that, or they could be, the house could be under heritage conservation. So check with your city, or of course better, a designer before buying any lot. Of course, send me the address. I'll help you, I'll let you know exactly what sort of a structure you can make, and then we can go from there. My name is Khush. I'm a local realtor. Bye.